My name's Sarah Baldwin, and I have Steve Schmerzinski with me today at Tri-C, and we're going to talk to you about our welding certificates here at Tri-C. A little bit about me. I am the recruitment specialist here for our workforce division. So I tell everybody I'm the get you in the door lady. I will help you with onboarding. So what that entails is if you need help doing your application, if you need help with financial aid or figuring out steps that you need to take for enrollment, testing, even right up into picking your classes, I can help you get in touch with the right people to assist you and to navigate all that onboarding process. And Steve will introduce himself now.
Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Swarzinski. I'm the Director of Advanced Manufacturing here at Cuyahoga Community College. I'm in charge of the welding programs as well as our industrial and automation maintenance programs here. So, Sarah, thank you for hosting this information session. I look forward to providing information.
Awesome. So I am going to share my screen now, and we're going to talk a little bit about our welding certificates.
Awesome. Yeah, so at Tri-C, we have two welding certificate programs. One is a short-term certificate in introductory welding. This is a 5-course program that teaches basic welding skills, and those skills are in MIG welding, TIG welding, stick, and oxy-fuel. This short-term certificate allows students to begin working immediately in an entry-level position with an understanding of common welding methods. Again, this is a program that teaches the foundational skills in welding, specifically in MIG, TIG, stick, and oxy-fuel. The second program is a certificate of proficiency in industrial welding. Unlike the short-term certificate, 5 courses, the certificate of proficiency in industrial welding is a 10-course program. And this program teaches basic welding skills as well, and also introduces additional industry technologies, such as programming of welding robots, structural fabrication, non-destructive testing, and workplace safety, which are also very important concepts in the manufacturing industry. Both pathways offer students the potential to earn 3 nationally accredited certifications through the American Welding Society. So at the conclusion of the MIG, TIG, and stick welding classes in both the introductory and the industrial welding, students submit a test piece for the American Welding Society, the AWS. That test piece is submitted to a third party. It's evaluated by the lab, the third-party lab, and if the weldments are acceptable, the industry credential will be obtained by the student. So those, just a little bit more about the industry credentials, is that's a very valuable certification aside from the Tri-C certificate. It basically stays with the individual for an indefinite lifespan as long as they're active in the field. For stick and MIG, the credential is AWS D1.1 structural steel for code SMAW or stick welding, or GMAW for the MIG welding. And the certification is in a 3G groove weld position. The other industry accreditations that are obtained through both the short-term certificate in introductory welding as well as the certificate of proficiency in industrial welding is TIG. TIG offers a D1.1 structural steel code GTAL in the 3F fillet weld position. Okay, so I listed 3 accreditations in stick, MIG, and TIG. Each welding position may require different techniques, parameters, and preparation in which you'll learn here at Tri-C. So that's kind of a overall summary of the programs and accreditations that are entailed in both the short-term certificate in introductory welding and the certificate of proficiency in industrial welding. Next year, hopefully mid 2025, we should have an associate's degree of technology for welding. Basically is similar to the 10-course industrial welding program, but it adds the math, English, and sciences elements that are all required in an associate's of science degree. So keep your eyes open. Hopefully mid 2025, we'll have that associate's degree approved from the Department of Higher Education, and we'll be able to offer it to interested students.
Great, that's really helpful, Steve. So as far as the program cost, we have it up here on this slide. So keep in mind, our current cost of tuition is $129.54 per credit hour, for Cuyahoga County residents. And if you're out of county, so any other county than Cuyahoga County within the state of Ohio, you're looking at $159.08 for out of county students. Now we have a tuition schedule on our Tri-C website. If you ever, like, let's say you're coming from out of state and you wanted to figure out of state cost, or you have other things going on, you would just type in tuition schedule, or you can always reach out to me. You can always contact me. I'm here to help you. And we could figure out what your total cost would be. We noted that, standard institution fees also apply each semester. So this can vary between 10 to 50 bucks per class. It just can vary. And
Yes,
so,
sir. So,
oh, go ahead,
Mhm.
Steve.
Yes, so just to piggyback on the institution fee, so yeah, it's the standard tuition of 129.54 per credit for Cuyahoga County. Out of county is 159.08, and then it's $10 to $50 per semester per student, depending on the number of credits that student takes. What's a little bit extra special for the welding program is the lab fees that are involved. Again, students don't have to bring anything when they apply to the college for our welding programs. All they have to basically wear is work boots. We supply the welding jacket, the welding hood, the gloves, the safety glasses, all of the metal, all of the electrodes, the sticks, all of the PPE. It's really a really great program, all encompassing for students that are just starting out, don't have any equipment or supplies. It's all covered. The lab fees run approximately $650 additional on top of tuition. And again, those welding lab fees include, again, the material, the electrodes, use of our welding machines itself, who are all provided by Lincoln Electric. And it also covers the third-party lab testing fee that's for the AWS certification. So aside from the fees, back to the tuition. So there are 19 credit hours in the introductory welding program. So you take your credit hours, multiply it by your tuition, and then you add your lab fees on top of that. For the industrial welding program, which is the longer program that has 35 credit hours, again, you're going to multiply your credit hours by your standard tuition, add your institution fees, and your $650 per lab fee for each course. The standard first aid and safety course, there is no lab fee. Also, the non-destructive testing course, there's also no lab fee as well for that. So primarily, it's just the core welding courses, MIG, TIG, stick, oxy-fuel, flux core, and structural fabrication that entail the $650 lab fee. And again, that lab fee is based on the current cost of the weld material, PPE, and safety gear for each student. Any more questions, Sarah? Oh, I forgot to mention, students will also need to supply their own textbook for classes that require textbooks. Textbooks currently are running around $100 to $175 per book. And the good thing about the welding courses is, aside for the print reading course, all of the other lab related courses use the same textbook. So you really only have to buy 2 textbooks in either program.
That's pretty good. Not having to buy a ton of books and you can utilize them. That's awesome. So now we're going to talk a little bit about what you've all been waiting for, at least what my ears would perk up to hear about so you come through our program, you do it. What kind of careers could you look at after completing our program and the earning potential? And Steve's going to explain that now.
Sure. So career pathways for students who complete the introductory welding program, which is the shorter program of 5 courses. It's really an entry-level employment as a welder. Entry-level welders work in many different locations and industries, Northeast Ohio, really US-wide. These include manufacturing, construction, aerospace, and even the military. So basically, as an entry-level welder, you typically start your career by training with veteran welders or journeymen. You shadow them while they go through their daily tasks. So it's really an entry-level position. Those who complete the industrial welding certificate or the 10 credit program can find more lucrative employment as a welder, more standalone, or obtain employment in fabrication, pipe fitting, boilers, ironworking, and even robotic welding. That's programming and operating. So Very, very lucrative positions, a lot of opportunities out there. Just a little bit more about those employment positions in fabrication, pipe fitting, boiler making, ironworking, and robotic welding. So the fabrication welding is basically a process of creating or building a usable product out of metal, raw materials. They're bending, they're shaping, they're welding, they're cutting to complete a final product. So all the tasks during the fabrication process from start to finish are completed at the hands of the welding fabricator. So basically, welding fabricators possess skills, knowledge, they have passion to fabricate cars, motorcycles, metal artwork, and much more. I have some pretty cool examples here for some projects that our prior students actually fabricated. This is more of artistic welding, but it's really neat stuff that students get interested in. And then more of the core foundational lab skills are welding plate metal, right? Simple plates with a nice bead down the center. Pipe fitters are sometimes more specifically known as steam fitters or gas fitters. They fabricate, install, maintain, they assemble, and they repair piping systems, right? They keep us cool during the summer and keep us warm during the winter. Pipe fitting systems include cooling, heating, hydraulic systems, pneumatic, high pressure assemblies that transport water, steam, even chemicals, maybe even fuel for commercial industries or marine use. In addition to that, pipe fitters often utilize a wide range of other processes throughout the course of their work, including cutting. They use threading, brazing, soldering, bending, and grooving. And those are all competencies that are taught here at Tri-C. Another position for an industrial welder would be a boilermaker. So we all know boilermakers. They fabricate, they install, they maintain, they repair high and low pressure boilers, tanks, vats, pressure vessels, other types of structures. These boilermakers are used for power generation. They provide heat, function as storage containers for oil, industrial chemicals, other liquids. Boilermakers also contribute to building, repair, or maintenance of structures, blast furnaces, bridges, elevators, dams, and even locomotives. Another employment opportunity are the ironworkers, right? These are sometimes referred to as the cowboys of the sky or the guys up in the high rises, large steel structural buildings. They erect, they dismantle the metal framework of a wide range of structures from bridges, antennas, skyscrapers, stadiums. Ironworkers are often erect cranes that are used in the construction of these structures and install and repair the catwalks, elevators, ladders, fire escapes, and fencing for commercial and industrial structures. So really, really cool opportunity there. And the last employment position that I'm going to talk about is the more technologically advanced welding, which is called the robotic welding. So robotic welding technicians are responsible for setup, maintenance, operation of the robotic welding equipment. And so the key to welding is more consistency and repeatability, how well our hands stay still, our angle of the electrode rod, and the weld speed. So robotic welding kind of takes those variables out of the equation and basically automates welding. So it's a consistent weld every time. So robotic welding technicians, they're critical to the fabrication of metallic parts, assemblies through welding by means of a robotic machine. So we teach robotic welding here. It's a 3-credit course. We use FANUC robots. And basically, if you're employed as a robotic welder, you're responsible for designing and programming the robots, maintaining and troubleshooting welding robots, and also implementing robotic welding for manufacturing and production. So it's a really exciting program here, and I really think it's going to kick off in the next couple of years throughout Northeast Ohio as businesses and industries get more innovative and their work becomes more complex. So. Sarah, I'd like to mention some of our partnerships with our leading industries in Northeast Ohio. So Lincoln Electric is one of our prime supporters of our welding lab equipment. They supply us with, obviously, the welders. They give us their supplies and their media, such as the electrodes. and any other kind of materials or attachments for any of our welding equipment. Also, some of our current welding instructors here at the college are actually actively employed by Lincoln Electric. We partner with other steel manufacturers around Northeast Ohio, such as Cleveland Cliffs, Charter Steel, where they send their mechanics and electricians for upskilling. Other industry partners include Cargill, Odie, and Howmet Aerospace. So really exciting partnerships we have with some of the leading industries in Northeast Ohio. We'll talk about local employers. So we spoke about the job positions, such as the fabrication welders, the boiler makers, the pipe fitters, the robotic welders. So major local employers for prospective students that are completing the program. Again, our Cleveland Cliffs, Charter Steel, Howmet Aerospace, and even the Steel Warehouse, all local in the Cuyahoga County here. Swagelock employs level 1 and 2 welders for assembly processes. Ford Motor Company for assembly, line workers, and maintenance. We have partnerships with Precision Banding for assembly and structural fabrications, Roll Fab Incorporated for roll form and metal products, Alloy Engineering for maintaining heat exchangers and pressure vessels. Numerous staffing firms help recruit qualified welders, and also the unions, kind of like I spoke about, the boiler makers, the iron workers, the steel workers, and the pipe fitters have many different opportunities for successful students through our programs.
Well, that's good to know. That's very helpful. So in this slide, we also talked about just generally as of right now, as of most recently, the kind of wages that you could potentially earn in some of these roles. And we will have this slide available independent of this presentation for you to review. But as you can see, as I'm scrolling through it, maybe Steve can, talk to this, but these are pretty good wages, I would say, because, our current, the longest program that we have, that's what would you say, about a year, Steve, total?
Yes.
Right. So to go to school for a year and then come out and be making this kind of money is pretty good, I would say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So just some statistics. So as of April around 2024, the median annual wage for entry-level welders, these are cutters, solderers, brazers, welders, was around $24 an hour, or around 49,000 annually. That's pretty good for only 5 classes. Now we can't guarantee that pay rate's going to be obtained, but that's the going wage. The lowest 10% in that demographic earned 36. Almost 37,000, and the highest 10% earned more than $72,000. And those are the ones that are really hustling, did very well in college, really applied themselves in the field, really made an impact to the business immediately. And then for a more skilled, qualified welder, specifically a pipe welder in the U.S., it's around $28 an hour, $28.60, or upwards to around $58,000 per year. And for pipe welders alone, just pipe welding alone, the projected job growth rate is around 6% to 2028. So there's going to be about 6,900 new jobs for pipe welders that are projected over the next decade. Their salaries have increased 12% according to the labor statistics. In the last 5 years, there are over 281,000 pipe welders currently employed in the U.S. So this is a very common employment position in Northeast Ohio, because again, these are the individuals that are supplying us with fuel, with gas, with heat, with air conditioning, with all sorts of different comforting elements. So when those pipes go down, we're out of luck. So it's very important that we have trained individuals that are qualified to repair those pipes. Bridge welding, another highly in demand career, which is a little bit more physical stressors involved with bridge welding, and also fear of heights may be another situation that students may have, but bridge welders make a little bit more. They're around $41 an hour, upwards to $87,000 a year for a qualified bridge welder. And lastly are the high-rise iron workers. Current labor statistic for an iron worker is a little bit over $46 an hour. or about 95,000 a year. And again, this is a very laborious job. You're hanging off of buildings, you're welding structural steel together. So again, you can't be afraid of heights, a lot of work involved and a lot of safety elements. But again, these are long-term goals for students that I think would be great.
All right, we're going to talk lastly with this slide, just some job duties that you could expect, out in the field. And then also we want to talk a little bit about, someone who's a successful welder has certain characteristics, and Steve's going to discuss what those are with you all.
Sure. So some of the job duties for entry-level welders specifically, they'll safely operate welding equipment. They'll provide basic data entry for maintenance breakdown calls. They'll provide services for work orders that are issued by their employer. They're responsible for setup and operation of welding equipment. And then the higher skilled welders, more the industrial welders, are also required to read blueprints and technical drawings to understand project specifications. Those working with another welder may help pass them tools, hold components while welding or joining metal together, or even lifting heavy materials up. A lot of teamwork's involved in welding, because when you weld, you have to complete a weld consistently. So if it's a large piece of metal, sometimes you have to have a buddy system where you would weld half the pipe on one side and the other half with another individual on the other side. Once you have the experience, you may be given more responsibilities and eventually be expected to complete projects on your own. So again, it's more entry level as you're helping a more skilled welder, you're learning, you're being mentored. And then those that are more trained and skilled and qualified are actually reading engineered drawings, specifications, and doing the welds on their own without very little intervention with a supervisor, foreman, or production manager. Some of the key ingredients for success of being a welder is, one, you need to be energetic, obviously, because of the amount of labor that's involved with welding. You need to be pretty flexible, not just flexible with time, but body motion, body movements, being able to work in abnormal positions, unnatural positions, laying down, upside down. Sometimes you're even welding with a harness on, right? Hanging from a rafter. You need to be a team player. So welding is not just a one-man job, right? So you're relying on spotters. You're relying on people instructing you. You're relying on your coworkers that are helping you hold material up. You have to be able to communicate very well. And also, not only you're with another partner, but sometimes you have to work alone. Sometimes you're assigned an assignment where you have to understand concepts that you've learned prior and apply them in your own environment. So, and lastly, people need to be able to rely on you. And this could be as simple as showing up for work. That's the most important thing, right? So a lot of these projects in Northeast Ohio and around the US, they're dependent on a number of employees. So if you don't show up, you have to compensate that. They have to give another employee that work, and that could turn project lead times. It could increase those lead times, which could add additional costs for companies and things like that. So people need to really be able to rely on you. So those are some key ingredients for success that I think a good qualified welder should have.
Very good there, Steve. And like I mentioned, for the audience, you will be able to review this slide independent of this presentation. We'll have this available to you so you can review it at your leisure, answer some of your questions specific to the programs. And like I mentioned initially, I can help you with any of the onboarding type of things. So once you decide, hey, this is something I want to study, this is where I want to attend, then you could just get a hold of me, and I will be happy to assist you with any of the financial aid pieces, tell you where to go, help you with your FAFSA, get you lined up with the right people for advising and whatnot. So that's what my role in all this is. And then Steve, tell us a little bit about where you're at. That looks quite plush, your surroundings.
So I am in the Cuyahoga County Community College's Tri-C's Advanced Technology Training Center. We're on Woodland Avenue here downtown at the Metro campus, and this is one of our two lab rooms that we use. This is the left side lab. And yeah, it houses 24 workstations, 24 welders. We have gas units, we have brazing, soldering, we have plasma torches here. So this is where all the magic happens.
Awesome. So that's where students would come and do their classes. Now, Steve, if somebody's interested in the program, well, what's the best route to take? Should they come and make an appointment with you? I mean, I've had students come and they say, I want to check out the lab, and I coordinate that. How would you like a student to reach out to you or to learn more about the program?
Sure. Well, the best way with the most accurate information with contacts and information about the program is a simple web search for Tri-C Welding. And when you search for Tri-C Welding, it's usually, it should be the first link. Click on that first link, and if you scroll to the bottom, there's going to be some contact information. If you want to contact the coordinator or myself directly, or you can also submit an information request via email. There's a button link on that web page for an information request, and that's a really nice tool because that gives us an opportunity to schedule time with you. Our schedules are very busy here at Tri-C because enrollments are picking up. So the best way is probably to submit an information fact request that pushes an email to myself and the coordinator, and we'll schedule a time with you to either maybe have a phone call conversation or even have an on-campus visit.
Wonderful. Well, that about wraps it up. And as again, you can always reach out to me, and I can always connect you with the other people here or just assist you with anything. I'm here to serve. And I know that Steve, is happy to help and answer your questions and get you enrolled and make you into a welder. So with that, I'm going to end this video, and thank you so much for watching.